And we have to make sure to give them the respect for participating here. It's a tough position both of those teams are in, but they came and they gave the interview for us, so big ups to them for still talking to us. We hope they can both find a way to success, but as you can see, Champs like Sorley rolling 404 and RMC. Take it away.
Woo! Here we go. Renekton locked in for Lonely. This has been, look, honestly, give Lonely Renekton. That's what you and I were talking about in the green room, or at least I talked about it, and you seem to agree with it. Yeah, he's been one of your bright spots. Let him cook. Give all the attention to him. Flawless was on the Zac. He's been trying. He's been on these kind of tank and spank junglers. Run it back. You've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, and you heard Natuno right there. He's saying mid-jungle is something to be a little bit scared of, a little bit to be concerned about from Kabum. And I actually like the fact they're holding those picks for later once they've seen what's coming through. But Los Grandes already dropping a bit of a scary composition. Rel and Poppy, that's set up for a massive hyper carry AD carry to come through. The LeBlanc from Lava, that's one way to try and shut Crossdale down. Hands check that man and make sure he doesn't get to pick a scaling AD carry like the Ezreal, like the Tristana that we were talking about before.
Yeah, and even with the static shift changes, LeBlanc's wave clear is still pretty good. So, okay, Crastiel looking like he's going to lock in that Ezreal, right? If that is in fact locked in, again, that's something we have seen him perform on before and play really well on, right? Like you said, you've got to hands check Crastiel. Crastiel's got pretty good hands.
Yeah, that he does. And we've joked before that Crossdale looking at the better AD carry in this team right now compared to Raven. So when you're picking that into a LeBlanc as well, yes, Ezreal very mobile, but LeBlanc double distort with that ultimate does allow her to chase down this Ezreal as well. So for these teams, you can feel how desperately they want the win. They are trying to set the carries best they can. Kabum, second round of bans. We're talking about a hyper carry. They're worried about a Samira to come through from Natuno, and I think that says a lot about Natuno and what sort of champions this guy likes to play and how he can carry teams.
Yeah, we had a little bit of video yesterday as the Aphelios comes through here again, like you said, RMC, just strictly Natuno bans, but it was Ranger on, and again, an engaged support, which he's going to be on Rel this time. I'd love to see it, and him and Natuno on the Samira, and the Kai'Sa like just getting 2v2 kills left and right, so they are a force to be reckoned with in the mid lane, but Raven is going to have some range on this Varus.
Yeah, with the range, and it will be interesting if we see AP Varus or AD Varus, of course. You know, static shift still an option for these Varuses despite the nerfs there. We're seeing the support pick up the Leona, and they're saving counter pick for Kabum for Flawless in the jungle, which is really, really interesting because this time you don't have Crossdale on the Galio like we did on day one, so you're not like picking something like a Jarvan isn't going to give you kill threat necessarily with the mid lane. You kind of need to pick a jungler that can do things on their own. There's the hyper carry we were talking about, Jinx for Los Grandes.
I thought you were going to say Ornn, which like
yeah, he's hyper carry too, you know. Those masterworks do a lot of damage, cost a lot of money.
So, the last pick of the day will be in the jungle for Flawless. Again, I just want to see him on these tank and spank junglers. They banned out the Ivern and the Braum, and it will be the Viego if, in fact, that is locked in, which is the exact opposite of what we thought we were going to see. But, look, this is an all-gas, no-breaks composition, which, to be fair, look, it's a different look from Kabum. Again, this is a team with its backs against the wall. Trajan, I am cautiously optimistic about this for Kabum. How do you feel?
So the one question that I do still have for Kabum is we see once again the return of the Kabum Ezreal. You know, we've seen it in bot lane, we've seen it in mid lane. Are we just beating a dead horse here, or is there some sort of pearl of wisdom hidden deep in this oyster? I'm losing control of my animal metaphors, I'll be honest, guys. So RMC, just what's your opinion on the return of the Ezreal? Why are they the only team that keeps doing this?
For Kabum specifically, the Ezreal gives you so much agency in the mid lane, and that's something you can't always get your hands on. We saw the LeBlanc first pick as well, so Crossdale didn't have the opportunity to pick that. Everything else kind of requires a team around you, and for Kabum right now, I'm looking at their drop. Renekton does his own thing. Viego does his own thing. Ezreal does his own thing. If anything, only Raven is going to be dependent on the team. Kabum, like we said, they're kind of desperate. It's do or die. They're 0-9. They do not want to end this split winless. And so they're just chucking everything at the wall. You're saying, hey, trust the mechanics. We know Lonely is good. We know Crossdale is good. Give them the champions that can best show that.
Yeah, and I am certainly fine for Los Grandes to go full Natuno show on this one, giving him the Jinx and a bunch of setup. The only thing I'm going to be looking for, specifically from Ranger, is I want to see better judgment calls by him when he's on these high commitment engaged supports. We like the look of the Nautilus, but you can toss a hook out, miss, and it doesn't matter. But if you go in hard with the Leona, with the Rel, you're in for better or worse. So we're going to need to see Ranger start to be picking these fights a little better. But 4-4, I don't know if you think that this move for Los Grandes is good to go full Natuno, because we did see some good things out of Hedown. Do you think they could have gone for a second threat up there?
I mean, maybe, but, and this is maybe what they were thinking is against Kabum, do we have to? Right, we can kind of play stock standard because this is pretty low bar of execution. That's kind of my read on it, right? I mean, the LeBlanc is a little bit handsier, right? But I think, yeah, it's just an Atuno angle. All right, on to the Rift we go. Kabum versus Los Grandes. 2-7 versus 0-9. You read those scores at the top of your screen that tells you everything you need to know about this team. But the good news is, RMC, if you want to flip it on its head, one of these teams will be breaking a 7+ game losing streak today. Woohoo!
True. There is going to be a combo breaker one way or another. And, you know, for we had to hop right into draft after that video, so we didn't get to talk about it. But I want to talk a little bit about Natuno and Redbird. Both these guys have had a taste of success before. Redbird, a former champion, and Natuno, I mean, this guy is our current reigning MVP from Split 1, right? And they are struggling on these teams. And Trajan gave them props, you know, for coming up, for doing the interview, you know, for talking about the struggles that their teams are facing. And to me, I think these players are doing really, really well. And I really feel for them when they're talking about it, right? When they're talking about the fact that if we want any shot at playoffs right now, we need to start winning. I can't imagine how much pressure these guys must be under right now.
Yeah, and it's either that and pressure creates those diamonds, or you could take it another way, which is, look, we have nothing to lose at this point. And sometimes that helps. Sometimes it doesn't, because you feel like, well, what's the point? You get very nihilistic, and it's real sad boy hours. Or you can just take the shackles of pressure off you. And I'm hoping that that's what can be had for you guys. Again, just in this bottom lane alone, you've got so much firepower, right? Ranger is a 2-time title winner. Redbird is a multiple-time title winner. Natuno is an MVP, right? And just these 4 players, like you said, the individual success on these rosters is alarming given their records.
It's not being reflected in said records. And even into this game, it's interesting the different tact they've opted for. As you mentioned, you know, Los Grandes, and Trajan mentioned, pardon me, Los Grandes, you know, very stock standard front to back composition. It feels like they've gone back to their basics. They trust that mechanically, Natuno and Ranger have been winning out bot lanes. Lava's hands have been good. This split especially, he's been winning out a lot of the 1v1s. He's what you expect from a Korean import into the mid lane here in CBLOL. Hidan and Eno, the issue hasn't been their individual performances. It's been more coming together. And with picks like Poppy, like Ornn, with huge goal buttons like Rel as well, Los Grandes, they're going back to the basics. Kabum, for me, they're still looking for a win condition of their own. And you know what? With this sort of composition, it feels like a bit of a test. Like, who's going to be the big carry here? Everybody's technically got a chance to fill that role.
Yeah, for Kabum, it does feel like it's a bit of a solo queue comp, right? A lot is going to have to happen early. You are trusting the mechanics, right? And it is, like you said, RMC, just 2 very different tacts, right? For Los Grandes, they are playing stock standard. They are trusting their win conditions. And right now, they are giving Kabum, on the other hand, a lot different energy. They are saying, go out and get it. Go out and trust your own hands, your own mechanics. Let's see how these build paths shake out, right? That's the one thing that you do worry about with Kabum's composition, is that you can't tell much from just item starts, but this is a lot of physical damage.
Well, they've got options. We've seen the Ezreal. I can't recall if Crosstell actually built AP the last time, I think, in the mid lane.
I think he did go Night Harvester Static Shiv, or maybe maybe that was Avenger. Maybe I'm mixing up one as midweight game with another, but
I mean, and Ezreal has done it. So they do have AP options. Varus, likewise, we mentioned the sort of AP build that can come through for the Varus. So both are options. Kabum can kind of decide how they want to opt for this. Now, personally, I'm preferring the AP Ezreal rather than
Redbird
the AP Varus.
Finds a very nice Zenith Blade here, and Ranger's going to mount up. Raven keeping on chucking out the damage, and some sneaky gaming here from Flawless, and he goes right in. Redbird has to pop the, Tuno, excuse me, has to pop the cleanse, and one more tick on the ignite might kill Ranger. Oh, he's gonna survive by the skin of his teeth. That's why you pop your pots immediately, kids. Flawless might be in some trouble. Was going in for the kill, but NL, right place, right time. Ranger's got to be careful though. Maybe he goes for an all-in. He will not.
Ranger, I think, ticked down to 9 health.
Wow.
Single digits. He was real low on that particular fight. And Kabum, a bit of a missed opportunity, but you like to see that aggression. And one thing about their composition, because there's so many carry options, because everybody's got so much agency, I'm looking at Kabum to sort of make that early action happen. Something that Flawless has been struggling with is those early ganks, trying to find a good way to get kills. So watching that level 4, level 3 gank come through from Flawless, that's a good sign. And I want to see more of that. You can technically pull that off in every single lane. Even the mid lane, where you've got an Ezreal, not a lot of kill threat. Well, you can land a stun onto LeBlanc. If she burns the sword early, Lava, well, he'll probably have to burn a flash, and even that might not be enough against the Viego.
Yeah, he's got quite a few gap closers between the stun, the Q. He can speed up, going in the Harrowed Path. The Heartbreaker can get him over walls, I think, as well.
Yeah.
If I'm not talking out of my behind, yeah.
Yep.
And he's still got the flash up. Ranger and Redbird, they spot each other in the river there, and Ranger says, "You know what? If I can't get a Scuttle Crab, I'm just gonna drop a ward in the middle of the river there." Lonely gonna TP back to base. Hedon had burned his as well on the Ornn. Ornn 2-1 this split. We haven't seen a lot of it. It has not been a very tank-heavy meta in the top lane, unless, of course, you count Cassante, which I suppose is a tank. Ranger gonna get Zenith bladed on, drop the B emote, knowing that he is completely fine here. Raven just happy to keep the wave in a good spot and focus on farming it in that nice little frozen state right there.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we see Rel picked a lot into supports like Nautilus, like Leona. You can kind of ignore their CC with that dismount a lot of times, and they're a great counter engage as well. So Ranger are going to be very happy in this matchup, as if he already wasn't one of the better Rels we've seen in CBLOL, with an epic performance the last time he picked that one up. Now, let's talk Hedon and Ornn for a little bit for I4, because Hedon stepping in for Bull. You know, I actually don't think Bull really underperformed that much. Yes, he had some rough games, but his laning stats were actually still pretty decent. So I took the swap for Hedon coming up partially as synergy with Enno. What confused me a little bit has been the champions we've seen Hedon play. Things like Renekton, like Jax, you know, basically champions that I expect Bull to play. Whereas Hedon in Academy was playing more teamfight-oriented champions, things like the Ornn, like the Kennen. So I'm glad to see him now back on the Ornn, because I do think that's what Hedon was excelling in the Academy phase of things.
It is interesting, right? Because Kabum Academy actually having a really good split.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can corroborate that, because, I mean, you saw, well, one, you've got Academy streams going VOD review the games later on in the week. And NL and Hedon, right, they were a part of that very good Academy team. And so they said, look, with Trick gone, right, you don't have to worry about the synergy anymore. Bull underperforming a little bit. Let's try to get to something a little more stable on the top side. I agree with you that is knowing what I know from you, that is, I think, a very valid read. Is you want stability in that bot lane. Ranger maybe looking for that counter engage there onto Raven, but as soon as he saw Flawless step up, going to crash down away, mounting up out of trouble. We've seen a lot of attention paid to this bottom lane, but no blood spilled just yet.
Yeah, and for Flawless, I appreciate you trying to shut down Natuno. That's been what every other team in the league has been doing against Los Grandes. Shut down Natuno, shut down Ranger, and that's half of the Los Grandes game plan down. But look at Lonely up top. He's actually getting a lot of pressure. There's a significant CS lead up here, and I would have loved for Flawless to try and help out. Dragon started up the turn onto Los Grandes.
Then turn immediately. Ranger taking very, very low. There goes the True Shot Barrage doing some helpful damage, but Tuno is excited. No support, no problem. He's got level 6 as well throughout the Super Deck of Mega Death Rocket. Oh, Lava! Gonna grab the kill there onto Crastio. Mid lane gaming up top, and Enel gonna grab himself a kill as well. It's a 3-for-1 for Los Grandes.
And it started so well for Kabum 4x4. They looked like they were the ones who were going to be able to turn it. First blood went towards them as Flawless was able to pick that up, and Crostio, I mean, with that True Shot Barrage, it landed across multiple members. Everything was set up right, but the critical member, Natuno for Los Grandes, wasn't dead. And Rel's passive, you know, the longer that fight keeps going, the more hits they're taking, the tankier they get as well. Ranger was able to soak so much time to allow everything else to go through. We get to see how the fight started again. Massive props as well to NL. The whole steadfast presence actually stopped a lot of what Flawless wanted to do and delayed the burst damage, which bought them enough time for Natuno to start popping up. And that's terrifying, because now Natuno has kills, has assists in his pocket as well, and that was the win con all along, on a hyper carry no less.
And you see Lava doing exactly what you wanted, right? It's something that I want to harken back to that we pointed out in draft. The guy's up 20 CS on Crastio. He is up to his first item, and it is that Static Shiv. How do you read this in a post-LOSS League of Static Shiv world?
I already said LeBlanc is one of the few champions who are still going to be very happy with Static Shift, will continue to build it. And again, I want to remind everybody, LeBlanc was picked really early, right? Crostio knew what he was picking the Ezreal into, and this is the concern. You're picking it into one of the most mobile assassins in the game who can match your arcane shift. So This is an expected outcome. Crushdale is looking to scale up and not to fight Lava, which he had been doing very, very well up to the point where he tried to help out from that skirmish. And with that threat, the cooldown's almost back up for the Keeper's Verdict. They can just keep repeating this onto Redbird and Raven.
And that's been a bit of a tactic on the other side of things when teams play Kabum, right? You can take a weak link approach or a strong link approach. Like you said, with Los Grandes, it is attack the strong link, attack Netuno as they start up the Dragon here, getting that one on the board at about the 10-minute mark. For Kabum, often you see teams attack the weak link, attack the bottom lane. And Raven and Redbird, they have had to play a lot of heads-up League of Legends. Oh my goodness, that was far too close for comfort. Nice steadfast presence. Going to present the engage there from Redbird. Now with the TP coming down, Kabum heading for the hills. That's the Keeper's Verdict, like you said, up at almost cooldown here. Flawless, going to take the Q to the other side of the wall, but a lot of CC coming down, and indeed, Netuno will not grab that. He was doing everything he could throughout all the damage, but Hedon will be credited for the kill.
Yeah, and for Kabum, that... I'm going to be honest, for that feels a little bit desperate from them. Like, they walked into that, seeing the collapse come through with the TP as well, and they were just like, uh-oh. Like, and they still went for it. Props to them, they almost sold the Dragon, but it kind of felt like they overstayed a little bit. Lonely as well made the call to walk down. TP was not up for the Renekton, and doesn't get the shove into the top lane as well. So Lost going to be very, very happy with that sequence of events. They already got a small lead before. They've now extended it with another kill and Dragon to boot.
And Lonely has been having a really nice time up in this top lane, all things considered, right? He's gotten himself a lot of gold. Now it's, can you transfer that, right? This is a spot you don't want to be in as a Renekton, is seeing that 0-0-0 right by your name, especially as you get into this mid game. Once you've got that Gore Drinker, it's go time, baby.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if they're able to pressure and take advantage of Lonely's power spike. We've said before, Floss has been focusing this bot lane, and it has reaped some rewards. Raven has been keeping ever so slightly ahead in CS, has been able to find some plays, but now is when you start looking to transfer that elsewhere. Lava TPing into this one, but Lava's playing as bait right now.
Raven just missed time to change of corruption. Wow. Now another TP down. It's a party in the bot lane. Everyone is invited. Ranger going to pop in with a Magnet Storm. Crasstiel in to try to do some damage here. There goes the Super Mega Death Rocket. Redbird taken low. Kills traded one for the other. It's a 1-1 so far. NL taking a lot of damage. Taking down with the Ignite. Lonely pops everything, but he's all alone. Even with the Dominus, I think he's going to go down here. Has to flash away. NL maybe looking for a re-engage here. Has the Keeper's Verdict. Not going to use it for anything. And Hedon, meanwhile, doing what Lonely was doing, which is getting solo plates up in the top side.
Yeah, he gets to push this time. He's not even walking down, and those Grandes nerves of steel on that play. They didn't even blink. Lava was baiting the entire time, and we're talking about Kabum. Oh, get Flawless up to Lonely. No, they decided to pull the reverse Uno card, and they were just like, oh, we'll get Lonely down to the bot lane. That kind of backfired, unfortunately. You lose that pressure, you're getting top side. The bot side, sure, you got the Herald charge off, but you ended up losing kills, and look what Lost is taking. Not only turrets top side, turrets in the mid lane, and Netuno going to be able to kind of farm that up, push out, already has the Kraken Slayer, and can start threatening that bot side turret a little bit more as well.
Raven's got to be careful here. He is 3 levels down. Lava is feeling pretty big, and Redbird, you can see him kind of shadowing there in the jungle. Throws out the call. The Forge God going for the assist. Lava taking one too many tower shots. That almost went extremely poorly for the Los mid laner.
But Los starting to feel themselves, and this is what you want to see for if you're a Los fan. They've been on a 7-game losing streak, but you can't tell it from the way they've been playing this game. They're confident. They're feeling like, hey, we can win this. We can take these high-risk, medium-reward plays, and the mental is good. Of course, the big question is how they can continue snowballing this, because right now, they've been punishing Kabum mistakes a lot, but now they want to be a bit more proactive, make plays of their own, and to me, that's going to start with the objectives in 2 minutes. Both Dragon and Herald will be up at that time. They took Dragon the first time, but they ceded the Herald to Kabum.
Let's see how the setup goes into these compositions, right? I mean, do you want to trade these objectives with a little bit more poke on the side of Kabum? Do you opt, can you execute on that? We talk about, like you said, we were talking in the green room a little bit and then off air with things like the Jace, with these poke compositions that are becoming increasingly popular in CBLOL, how I was a little bit more of a fan of it. You said, all right, yeah, the Jace has been okay, and it's not really the players, it's just maybe teams learning how to play around them. And Ezreal and Varus aren't as much, you're not as hard indexing into this poke as you are with a Jace. But still here, static shifts completed across the board as well, 2 of them for Kabum.
That's an interesting choice as well, because I do think that when you're behind, building multiple static shifts can be good. You can wave clear incredibly quickly, and that stalls out the game. But I'm looking at what Los are bringing to the table, and I don't know if scaling favors you. They've got a Jinx, one of the hardest hyper carries in the game, with an Ornn. Undeniably, the best top laner for skilling comps with the Lust, with items, Lava, trying to dodge away.
Redbird almost gets the entire CC chain down onto him, but Lava able to distort out of trouble. He was going to take everything of that solar flare. So Redbird loses all his big buttons, but Lava not in much better straits either. Has to burn some key spells to get out of trouble. Ranger takes some damage. Might not have enough for a re-engage here. Flawless almost gets the stun down there, looking for a punish.
Yeah, that's a couple big ultimates committed by Kabum just as Dragon will be spawning. Los are a little bit low on health bars. They can always look to reset TP being called in from Hidan, and that's the big go button for Los Grandes.
NL looking for a way in here. He's charging up the Keeper's Verdict. Who's he going to get, if anyone, with it? He gets Redbird, and that's the go button that they were looking for. They get everybody with the Call of the Forge God in. Lonely is in some trouble, pops the Dominus, but he's running, tucks his robot-renected tail between his legs. Redbird going right back in. He got there, but is it too little too late? It's looking like it is.
Self-free firing.
Lonely is low. Crastiel dumping a lot of damage into the composition of Los Grandes. They don't have engage tools themselves available anymore. And after all that RMC, it's just Flawless that goes down.
Yeah, Kabum plays that immaculately, playing backwards, kiting away from the engage that Los Grandes brings, and that's actually going to net them control over the Dragon. They should be able to start this one up. Flawless already running all the way in, and if we get a replay of that where there was a little bit of miscommunication, there we go. Thank you, observers. Perfect timing. Watch what happens with Ranger and Eno here. The Magnet Storm came down and immediately got yeeted out by the Keeper's Verdict. So Redbird kind of getting bailed out, and that buys Redbird time to get back into this fight, continue saving, disrupting a lot of the CC, and then Crastiel just gets the free fire constantly because Lava blew to start early in the fight. They just have no way to reach that Ezreal.
Los Grandes with a little bit of purchase that they have. Going to start up the Herald. Dragon was taken by Kabum, so it is that objective trade. A little bit delayed, not exactly how we thought it was going to go. But that is what's going on here. Gold pretty much dead even, though. Post 14 minutes, that Herald isn't going to get you the insane value that you want. But there really hasn't been a ton of action as far as towers being taken off kills, right? Still, the 17-minute mark is just 1 tower to 0. And just as I say that, thank you very much. Lava clearing waves, pushing down towers.
Yeah, and for Los Grandes, when they picked up the Herald, they hadn't taken a turret just yet. So having that Herald in pocket is going to be useful in terms of grabbing some of that early gold. Both bot lane and mid lane are fairly low and vulnerable. So we'll have to see how Los apply this Herald. Ideally, I'd like to see them actually use it for pressure, drop it in a lane, and actually pressure a different lane instead, so that Kabum have to split their attention. We've mentioned before, Kabum's composition, team fight-wise, isn't necessarily the strongest front to back. So if you can get Lonely away from them, say, they lose a lot of that front line. You saw in that last fight how much tankiness Lonely brings to the table. Redbird, as a support, won't be able to provide quite the same.
Yeah, Lonely survives for a long, long time, right? And if you can, like you said, isolate him just from the rest of the team fight, Renekton is at his strongest point right now. He's got the Gore Drinker. He's got himself 2 kills, 2/3 of Kabum's kills. Solar Flare almost lands on a 2-0. Redbird gets it onto Hedon. Now trying to re-engage with the Call of the Forge God. Here comes Ranger. Here comes NL. Damage down onto Redbird. And he gets 2 with the Keeper's Verdict. That is massive. And now they're just trying to run down Crastiel. If he doesn't have Arcane Shift up, he's better use it soon. Doesn't have it, but doesn't need it. And now Kabum maybe looking for a potential... I mean, they're just trying to save their waves at this point.
Yeah, and because Redbird's down, because Lonely split pushing bot lane, Flawless, Crastiel, and Raven have to be so careful here.
They got to be really, really careful. Crastiel flashes away, and they will smartly sack this turret. But like you said, Lonely gets a little something on the other side here. But Los Grandes went from 1-0 down in the towers department to 2-1. There was nothing to fight over, but Los Grandes created pressure points.
Yeah, and that was actually Kabum pushing up, right? Redbird tagging Hedon and getting dragged a little bit closer to turret, I think, than he'd have, like, didn't actually get in turret range, which is really good for Redbird, but did put him too far away to safely get back under turret. And you're kind of seeing what we're talking about with these two teams. Kabum, they are jumping the gun a little bit, which isn't a bad thing when they've been struggling to find themselves a win condition, but they're not necessarily the most coordinated. And Los Grandes as well, that engage looked a lot better than the last one, where Eno and it was Ranger who weren't on the same page. This time, Eno, beautiful Keeper's Verdict to completely isolate Redbird, and heck, just a little bit short of being able to find Crastiel on that initial pick as well.
Yeah, was able to remove 2 members of Kabum from the fight. Now Los Grandes sort of what you were asking for, RMC. You send the Herald into one lane, you get a lot of gold for Natuno, gets excited off the tower, and Lonely is not at this fight. Lava is your strongest 1v1 member. He's just in the mid lane, wave clearing, and now Kabum. Yeah, they've got to respond here, but they look a little bit in disarray. 2 charges from the Herald for Los Grandes. Do Kabum answer right here, right now? There goes the Solar Flare. They've got the CC chain down. Tower still standing to boot. Lonely taking a lot of damage, and he will get nothing. Ranger actually picking up the kill there, but the damage being done by Natuno and the carries of Los Grandes. Oh my goodness! Lava out of nowhere snipes Flawless off the map.
Yeah, Kabum just lost track of Lava in the chaos there, and oh, the counter engage.
Oh, the Forge got in from Los Grandes. They got what they came
Ranger?
for in the tower. Ranger feeling himself.
Oh,
he's going forward, but
almost.
Raven actually returning pretty good damage there, but Natuno is too big. Double kill for the Jinx.
Los Grandes are looking cleaner and cleaner right now for the confidence. You can see Natuno is now willing to step up as well. And you can't even fault Kabum for the initial fight. As the turret was going down, Kabum found Natuno. That was the key pick. But the peel with an Ornn, with a Poppy, with a Rel, it's just so much CC. And perfect, we get the replay on that. Watch Redbird going on to Natuno here. Natuno steps up ever so slightly, gets stuck with the Solar Flare. Cleanse came out a little bit late, but the amount of frontlining that Eno, Ranger, and Hidan provide just means that if Kabum aren't all in on that backline right away, you don't kill Natuno, and Natuno gets the free fire. It's Jinx time.
Yeah, once Natuno got excited, it was curtains. And how about Lava? Man, playing really, really confidently on this LeBlanc, getting in, getting those picks there. A little bit of happiness in the Los Grandes camp. They've generated themselves quite the lead here at this point, RMC. 4,000 gold. They're up 2 towers to 1, and 8 kills is the margin in which they are ahead. Really good performances from everybody involved. Redbird almost gets dragged by Lava into a very dangerous position. Lava, yeah, he's playing with just reckless abandon right now on this LeBlanc.
I mean, can you call it reckless when Lava's 3-0-5? It looks reckless, but he's not dying, so hey, something's working right there. I mean, the fact that Redbird throws out the Zenith Blade, and we're worried about Redbird, I think says a lot about Lava this game.
Oh man, gets a ton of damage there onto Crastiel. Just, he's completely on the back foot.
Yeah, geez, it's so painful to watch this, and Los Grandes, it's such a great job from them as well, right? It looks a little bit dangerous what Lava's doing. He's not even taking counter poke, and meanwhile, the rest of Los Grandes is playing it completely by the book. It's 3 huge blockers, and Natuno just getting the free fire over and over again. Kabum is looking for a way to punish anybody on Los, but who do you go for? The tanks? If you're focused on them, you're eating Jinx damage the entire time. If you go for that Jinx, we've seen what happens, and Lava is so slippery. Kabum, where is the miracle? Who steps up? That's been the question for the entire first half, and
Yeah.
round 10, it's still the same question for Vital.
2 very underperforming teams relative to expectations. Kabum, obviously 0-9 is an underperformance for everybody. I don't care what your expectations are. CBLOL has a lot of parity. And we haven't seen it quite as much here. I feel like it's been a while since we've had. Hang on a second. Oh, 4x4, shut your pie hole. We've got analysis no more here. And in with the heroic charge, just deletes Redbird. And you see Redbird is trying to be that hero. He's trying to step up and make these plays. But Kabum just not coordinated, and Los Grandes punishing so well.
Yeah, and Kabum, they recognize that, hey, we don't have a good win con compositional. We have to make something happen. Redbird took it on himself to be the hero, unfortunately. Well, sometimes heroes die.
Ranger and Lava playing bodyguard. No one can get into the pit. Call of Forge got out as well defensively. There goes the True Shot Barrage. They have no vision in. They're just firing spells in blindly. Ravenhead gets the Chains of Corruption in. They threw so much into that pit, RMC. It's just desperation hours.
Yeah, and they're just trying to create space for Flawless, but unfortunately, Eno, another great Keeper's Verdict. He's had 1 bad Keeper's Verdict, 2 great ones. Just yeeted Flawless right out of there, and you can see Kabum just like, okay, yeah, okay, we have to see this one. Now, the problem is you're already struggling before Baron. Los Grandes are going to be shoving in. Oh, Redbird.
Stop it. Stop it. God, no. Stop it! Now they're just being mean.
That was inside their own base! Like, what more do you want from Redbird? The poor man is just getting slaughtered. And that's the problem with an engaged champion like Leona. We said it of Ranger as well, right? When you're ahead, you look amazing. But when you're behind, half the moves look like you're inting because you go in, there is no out. It's either win or bust. What disgusts me more, though, is you thought Lava's playing recklessly before 4x4? look at what Lava's doing now. There's 3
Yep.
members there. Lava knows that. Actually had vision on Crosstail on the side, and he's still just distorting in, punishing them with Static Shiv and Lichbane.
Static Shiv, Lichbane, Night Harvester. That is... Well, to be fair, that's actually how I played Bard in ARAM, and it's a lot of fun, let me tell you. Because the upfront damage that you can do is a little silly. I don't know what he's going to get third. I think just go Death Cap, right, at that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see if the game even gets there. NL? Almost had Crastiel there. Yeah, you see here, Lava on the other side with the Baron buff. They've got this 4-1 going. Lava can take on absolutely anybody. You love the lane assignments here.
Yeah, I mean, you have to send Romy almost. Oh, the fight breaking on top.
Oh my goodness, what a Magnet Storm from Ranger! When you're ahead, this champ looks incredible! Call the Forge God right on top of it. They cannot lose RMC. It's just too easy. Shooting fish in a barrel. Los Grandes explode this game open.
Heck yeah, there might not be enough time for them to lose. 30-second death timers for Kabum, and they're pushing in with a Baron buff here. Crosstail, the last survivor, the man who's been trying to carry this team, one of their best performers, but 1v5 is too much to ask for.
1v5 too much for this Ezreal right now. Yeah, there's nothing he can do. Lava just playing with his food right now. Crasty actually holds out of the flash there. Look, this game is over, so let's just talk about this 1v1, I guess. This feels a little personal here. Crasty was trying to get something to pad his stats before the game ends. Pretty unceremoniously, Los Grandes snap the losing streak, keep their head above water. They are 3-7 now.